Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Team Barca. Today we're going to talk Barca news, everything that's going on at the club at the moment. We're going to focus on some of the statements made by specific players at the club, like Busquets, Jong. We're going to focus a bit on the game during the weekend against Getafe, which I think is going to be quite a difficult game. And then we're going to go and look forward. Gonna look at the games coming later this month and also the months to come up until New Year's Eve. And always, thank you for tuning in. Let's get into it. So a lot of players are coming back this week from the international break. Some had success, some had some losses. Overall, I think it was a good exercise for the players to go out and get some playing time, get their fitness up and running. It's going to be a long and difficult season, so playing games is important, but I do think it's nice to see that some of the players were rested also during the international break. So what we need to focus on this week, like Koeman said, is getting the fitness back, checking that none of the players are coming back injured or have anything niggling in their knees or ankles or whatever. And some interesting news actually came out from both Busquets and Jong. So Busquets had a few words to say about the whole situation at Barca at the moment with the vote of no confidence, everything going outside of the pitch, which can be quite stressful to players. And I think sometimes we forget that these people are just people like you and me. They're just regular guys, but they're just very, very good at football. And of course it does affect them that a lot of stuff is going on at the club. Some wants the board out, a lot of people wants the board out, including me. But like Busquets says, it's important to keep the focus on football when that's your job. And they hope that they can spread joy amongst the fans on the pitch. And I cannot disagree more. Everything that's going on with the vote of no confidence doesn't have anything to do with the players. It's up to the board, it's up to the critics of the board to handle that situation. And then we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. But just like Busquets said, we need to focus on the pitch. We need to be sharp and clear in our ideas of what we want to do on the pitch. And that's what I hope they're gonna do. Next guy to come in with some interesting topics or ideas for discussion is Jong. He had a few words to say about himself, about his performances lately. He said he had an average game against Seville. I think he's correct in saying that. Obviously, he's going to analyze himself and his performance. Koeman also said that he lost a few balls that he doesn't usually do. But I think we need to consider the fact that Seville is a very, very good football team at the moment. Their fitness regime is almost perfect. They had a lot more focus in their pressing, and the counter pressing from Barca wasn't really at its peak. I think a player like Pjanic is going to be much more important going forward in the season, and he definitely isn't at 100%. We also saw him, he only got 75 minutes for his national team, where he usually plays every single game, being the most important player in his country. So I think the analysis from Jong is correct. He had an average game, but so did a lot of other players as well. And I think he was thrown in at the deep end last summer when he arrived at the club. He had to try and fix a lot of holes, play out of position compared to what he did at Ajax. And I think he's done an excellent job in trying to improve the team in the way that he could. Trying to fit into the style that we want to play. And I think moving forward, the system change to the 4-2-3-1 is going to help him succeed in that role. And the final point on Jong, I think we need to remember that he's the youngest of our current 11 starting players on the team in terms of midfield. So Busquets is over 30, Pjanic is over 30. And that makes a big difference when you're the young player trying to really establish yourself and grow. Of course, he's going to learn a lot of those, but he's doing a lot of running for the other players because they simply don't have the legs anymore. He's covering on the left back slot for Jordi Alba. He's going to sometimes cover the left wing for Ansu Fati when he cuts in. Coutinho's going forward. He's naturally an attacking midfielder. He's definitely a 10. He's not a central midfielder. And he also has to do a lot of defensive work going into a 3-man defense at some points during specific games. So De Jong really probably is the player who moves most around on the field. And that's hard for him to do, and it's hard to have a perfect game every single game when you try to do that. He needs help defensively. I think Alba has proved that he can still give a lot to the team. Obviously has that hamstring injury at the moment, but I think it's going to be better in the future when he returns. So Sergiño Dest might be able to cover some of that left back slot. And we might also see Junior Firpo get a run in on that position. But from now, I think De Jong just has to focus on his game, do what he does best, break defensive lines with his passing, run from deep with the ball, and dribble his opponents. That's the 3 traits that's most impressive and important for him to really just focus on. And I think everything is going to turn out fine with him going into the future. Next up on the list is the game away to Getafe on Saturday on the 17th. We visit Cucurella again. What an excellent player he is. And we'll see what we can do. I think it's going to be a difficult game. Bordelas really plays an extremely defensive brand of football, but they're so good on the counter-attack, especially with Cucurella going down on the left wing. Of course, he's used to playing left back, so he definitely does a lot of defensive work as well. We've seen in the last 2 seasons that Getafe can really be a difficult side to break down, but I think Barcelona does have what it takes to bring the team down. I'm going to do a preview of the game maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and we'll see with my preferred starting lineup how we can do that most effectively. And the final point of today is the schedule. So the schedule for Barcelona is absolutely insane. We have 7 games in 23 days, which means a game every 72 hours. I know from playing football myself that just having 72 hours to recoup after a difficult game is very, very tough. We have Getafe here on Saturday. 3 days later, we have another game in the Champions League. Then we have a home game against Real Madrid on the 24th. Of course, that's going to be not just vital in terms of the season, it's also a tough mental game to break down. If we win that game, that gives us a lot of optimism for the future in terms of maybe winning the league. Then we have an away game, might be just as tough against Juventus. I just heard that Cristiano Ronaldo got coronavirus, so we're just gonna have to see if he plays that game. Hopefully he feels well on the night. There's nothing better than beating Cristiano, fully healthy Cristiano in Turin. Then we have another away game against Alaves on the 1st of November, and then we thankfully have 2 home legs. So we have another one in the Champions League against Dynamo Kiev, and then a home game against Real Betis. An exciting game for me. I'm very, very excited about the right back Emerson. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with Ansu Fati, Dembélé, or whoever plays on that left wing position. But that was everything from today, guys. 7 games, 23 days. It's gonna be absolutely exciting. As a Barca fan, I cannot wait to get over this international break. I hate it every time it comes around. Of course, I love my national team in Denmark, but they play extremely boring football. So I'm always excited to see Barcelona when they get back on the pitch. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you like what you heard. Always get back to me if you have an interesting suggestion of something you want me to talk about or do differently in these videos. I wish you a very good day, and as always, enjoy the Spanish guitar on the way out. Bye.